Hello and welcome to Colony of Ants. Hey, this is an on your own problem, so you should have solved the entire problem on your own, and now you're watching the video to make sure you did everything correctly. Before we get started, I want to remind you that if you make a mistake anywhere along the way, no worries at all, my friend. Pause the video, fix your mistake. That is the fastest way to learn. And now, on to our scenario. Alrighty, the largest ant colony in the U.S. is in California. This one ant colony runs for 560 miles along the coast. What if 246 Australian anteaters, like this guy right here, escaped from the zoo and started eating as fast as they could? What if they ate a total of 44,034 ants before they were caught and returned to the zoo? If they all ate the same amount of ants, how many ants would each of these little anteaters, oh my goodness, they are quite cute. Look at that long nose. That's for going in the ant burrow, right? How many of each of these anteaters, how many of ants would they have eaten? Oh my goodness, I can't even say that. Let me try again. How many ants would each anteater have eaten? Alrighty, so let's write this stuff down here. And here we go. We've got 44,034 ants divided by, fractions can also be thought of as divided by this line here, and divided by 246 of these cute little anteaters right here. Alrighty, so the very first thing I want to do is create my first area box here. And I'm going to plug the 44,034 right inside the box there. And then I'm going to put the 246 on the outside, because this is my divisor. Now, I always want to round up when I'm dividing, so I'm going to round 246 up to 300, and that is going to be what I'm going to use for my estimations. So as you see, I've got my 2s, 4s, and 6s, 2s, 4s, and 6s written down, and I also wrote my 3s because I'm going to be estimating with 300. So when I do that, I'm looking here and going, how many times can 300, can it go into 4? No. Can it go into 44? No. But it can go into 440. So I need a place value holder for these two digits here, for the 3 and the 4. So I'm going to put a 0 above each of those. So I've got a 0 here and a 0 here, and that means that 0 times 246 is going to give me 0 here, and 0 times 246 will give me another 0 right there. And now I'm clearly just working with the 440. Now, using my estimation, it's really easy to see that if I imagine that these two zeros are behind each of these digits here, I've got 300, 600 would be way too much, so I can only go in there one time, and I'm going to estimate with the 300, so I'm going to estimate one time going in there. And as you notice, my columns, I'm trying to keep them really neat so they're all lined up, right? And then 1 times 6 is going to give me 6. Now remember, when you estimate, you get this, but then when you actually multiply, you're working with the real divisor, right? So 1 times 6 is going to give me 6 here, and then 1 times 4 will give me 4 right here, and then 1 times 2 will give me 2 right here. And now I'm ready to do my next area box, so I'll plug that in right below it. And before I do anything else, I'm going to enlarge this and look for any trouble coming. I've got no trouble here, no trouble here, and lo and behold, I got some trouble coming because I cannot take 0 and subtract 6. So I'm going to borrow from this 4 here, and I'm going to just go turn that 4 into a 3 and turn this 0 into 10. And then I'm good to go here. But now I got trouble coming here, so I'm going to borrow from this 4 and turn that 4 into a 3 and turn this 3 into 13. So now I've got no more trouble coming here and none here as well. So I can simply subtract, and I'll do that right now, and I get 4 minus 0 is going to give me 4 right here, right? And then 3 minus 0 will give me 3. I've got 10 minus 6, which is going to give me 4. And then I've got 13 minus 4, which will give me big bad 9. And moving right along, I get 3 minus 2, which is 1. I'm going to drop my comma right there. And now I have 19,434. And I'm ready to rock and roll once again. So now I'm going to shrink this and come back up here. And now I'm looking at the 300 as my estimation. And it cannot go into 1 or 19. It cannot go into 194. But it can go into 1,943. So I'm going to need a place value holder for this 4 right here. And I'll put that 0 right there, which means I get a 0 here, because 0 times 246 would give me 0 right there. Now, let's come back up here and use our estimation of 3s. Now remember, this 300 has 2 zeros behind it. So I'm going to imagine that each of these has 2 zeros. So this would be 300, 600, 900, 1,200, which is still okay, right? And then I got 1,500, 1,800, and then 2,100 is too much. So I'm going to go with 1,800 because that would fit in here, right? So we're going to multiply by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So I'm going to plug a 6 in right here in the tens column, right? So let's go ahead and do that right now. I'm going to plug my 6 right there. And now I'm ready to use the real numbers, 6 times 6. And that means I'm going to come right up here and go by my 6's and count 6 places. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. That's going to give me 36. I'm going to drop my 6 and carry my 3. So I'm going to drop a 6 here, and then I'm going to carry my 3 right there. And then I've got 6 times 4. So I'm going to come here and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 24. Plus this 3 is going to give me 27. I'm going to drop my 7 and carry my 2 right here. And then I've got 6 times 2, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's 12. Plus this 2 is going to give me 14. So I'm going to drop the 14, and then I'm ready to subtract. So let's go ahead and make our next area box. And then we want to look for any trouble coming, right? So I have no trouble here. Lo and behold, I got trouble coming right away. So I'm going to borrow from the 4. So watch how I do this. I'm going to grab from that 4 and turn that 4 into a 3. And then I'm going to turn this 3 into 13. And now I'm ready to check over here. And I got trouble coming yet again because I cannot take 3 and subtract 7. So I'm going to borrow from this 9. I'm going to turn that 9 into an 8 and turn that 3 into 13. And now I am good to go because 13 minus 7 I can do 8 minus 4, and 1 minus 1 is going to zero out on me. So I am ready to subtract, my friends, and let's go ahead and do that. 4 minus 0 is going to give me a big bad 4 right there. 13 minus 6 is going to give me big bad 7. And then 13 minus 7 is going to give me 6. And 8 minus 4 is going to give me 4. And 1 minus 1 zeroes out, so I don't even have to worry about that. So now I'm down to 4,674. So let's come back up here and take a look now. Now, as you see, I'm really running out of room here, so I'm going to have to move all that stuff. And here you can see I moved it all over here, so I got a little more room to work here. And I love that. All right, so now I'm looking at how many times, and I'm using my estimation of 300, how many times 300 can go into 4,674. Well, it can fit into 467, so I'm going to put a place value holder right here in the ones column, and that's going to go right there. And then I can see that 300 will fit, oops, I'm sorry, I jumped ahead, didn't I? So then 0 times 246 will give me a 0 right down here. And shame on me for jumping ahead. And now I'm looking at how many times can 300 go into 467. Well, clearly it can only, remember there's 2 zeros here, 300, 600, so it can only go in there one time. So I'm going to add a 1 right there, and bam, there you have it. And then 1 times 246 is going to give me 246 right here, 246, and I'm going to subtract, and now I'm going to make my next area box right here, and it's going to be green. I love that. And now I'm checking for trouble coming, so I like to make it big so I can work a little more easily. I have no trouble coming here, no trouble here, no trouble here, and none here, so I have no trouble at all, my friends. And 4 minus 0 is going to give me 4 right there. 7 minus 6 is 1. 6 minus 4 is going to give me 2. And 4 minus 2 is going to give me another 2. Love that. So now I'm down to 2,214. And let's come back up here and see where we're at. And now if I estimate with 300, I'm looking at it cannot go into 2. It cannot go into 22. It cannot go into 221. I am working with the full 2,214. So I'm finally in my ones column here, which is groovy. Okay, so now I'm using my estimation of 300. So imagine that each of these digits have another 2 zeros behind it. So it'd be 300, 600, 900, 1,200, 1,500, 1,800, 2,100, and then 2,400, which would be too much here, right? So I'm going to go with 2,100. That means I'm going to multiply by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So I'm going to plug a 7 right up here. Now I'm going to take 7 times 6, and I'm going to come over here. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, 42. I'm going to drop my 2 and carry my 4. So I drop my 2, and I'm going to carry a 4 right there. And then I've got 7 times 4, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. 28 plus 4 is going to give me 32. So I'm going to drop my 2 again and carry my 3 over here. And then I've got 7 times 2, which is going to give me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. 14 plus this 3 is going to give me 17. And I'm going to drop my 17 right there. And now I'm good to make my next area box. And let's do that right here and now. And bam, there we have it. And place it right in there. And now I'm going to look for any trouble coming. I like to make it big for, whoa, it's getting away from me, isn't it? And here we go. I got no trouble coming here, but uh-oh. I certainly got trouble coming here because I cannot take 1 and subtract 2 from it. So let's go ahead and borrow from this 2 here, turn that into 1, and turn this into 11. And now I got trouble coming here. It's trouble coming all over, don't we? And because I cannot take 1 and subtract 7, so I'm going to borrow from this 2, turn that into a 1, and turn this into 11. And now I'm good to go. I can subtract. So let's rock and roll. And we get 4 minus 2 is going to give us 2 right here. And then 11 minus 2 is going to give us big bad 9. And then we got 11 minus 7, which is going to give us 4. And 1 minus 1 zeroes out, so I don't even need to worry about that, do I? So let's go ahead and do our next estimation. And we're going to move up here for that and look and see what we've got. Okay. And once again, we're using 300 as our estimation, and clearly 300, then 600, we can only fit that in one time. So we're going to go ahead and plug a 1 right there. And then 1 times 246, remember, because now we estimate with this, but then we work with the real number, is going to give us 246. So I'm going to plug in a 246 right there, and then we're going to subtract. And now let's move this up, and let's look for any trouble coming. So looking here, I see right away, bam, I got some trouble coming. So I'm going to borrow from the 9 here, and we'll do that right now. I'm going to turn that 9 into an 8 and turn the 2 into 12, right? And then I check for trouble coming. I got none here and none here, so I'm good to go. Let's go ahead and make our next area box, and we'll plug that in right there. And now I've got 12 minus 6 is going to give me big bad 6. 8 minus 4 is going to give me 4. And 4 minus 2 is going to give me, bam, yet another 2. And look here, this is really exciting. 246 will go into 246 exactly one more time. So let's come on up here and add one more 1 up there. That's kind of a crazy 1. And then 1 times 246 is going to come down here and give me another 246. And lo and behold, that's going to zero out, my friends. So I'm going to come back up here. And now all I have to do is do my adding, right? So I'm going to draw my line here, and I'm going to add everything up this direction. I got 7, 8, 9. So I'm going to plug a 9 right there. And then here I've got 6 and 1 is going to give me 7. And then right here I've got 1 and nothing is going to give me 1. And right there is your answer, 179. That means that each one of these Australian anteaters needs to eat 179 ants. So one last really quick recap. There's 44,034 ants on the coast of California. And then we have 246 of these Australian anteaters that escape from the zoo, and they start chomping away at all these ants, right? They stick their nose down there and chomp, chomp, chomp. And then we figure out how many does each anteater have to eat in order to eat all of these little ants up. And our answer is that each of these little cute anteaters from Australia needs to eat 179 ants. There you have it, my friends. Hey, if you made a mistake anywhere along the way, no worries at all. Simply pause the video, fix your mistake. That is the fastest way to learn. Until next time, I hope you have a fantastic day. And now, on to counting by the numbers. This is a great strategy for anybody who does not have all their multiplication facts memorized. Counting by threes. Ready? Here we go. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27, 30. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27, 30. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27, 30. Counting by fours. Ready? And 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 32, 36, 40. 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 32, 36, 40. 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 32, 36, 40. Counting by sixes. Here we go. 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, 36, 42, 48, 54, 60. 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, 36, 42, 48, 54, 60. 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, 36, 42, 48, 54, 60. Counting by sevens, here we go. 7, 14, 21, 28, 35, 42, 49, 56, 63, 70. 7, 14, 21, 28, 35, 42, 49, 56, 63, 70. 7, 14, 21, 28, 35, 42, 49, 56, 63, 70. And counting by eights, here we go. 8, 16, 24, 32, 40, 48, 56, 64, 72, 80. 8, 16, 24, 32, 40, 48, 56, 64, 72, 80. 8, 16, 24, 32, 40, 48, 56, 64, 72, 80. Counting by nines, here we go. 9, 18, 27, 36, 45, 54, 63, 72, 81, 90. 9, 18, 27, 36, 45, 54, 63, 72, 81, 90. 9, 18, 27, 36, 45, 54, 63, 72, 81, 90.